Hi, welcome to Tarot Tube. I will be doing a new setup today, so forgive me if there's any technical glitches or jumpiness on the video. We're slowly figuring it out. The good news is I finally got like a setup that I think I really like. Now it's just a matter of ironing out all the details. On the subject of details, we have been seeing a lot of cards lately relating to our ability to focus on things. We've been seeing Ten of Wands, which tells us that maybe we're taking on a little too much. We've been seeing, Temperance, which is all about balance, and Two of Pentacles, which is also about balance, but in sort of a different way. And so today's read, I wanted to focus on the subject of balance. So when I say balance here, I don't mean physical balance, obviously. I mean emotional balance. I mean the way that we juggle all the different things that are important in our lives. And I know that a lot of us have trouble with that, so today I just wanted to focus a read on that. I'm going to do a clarifying spread, which is my new favorite spread for this broadcast. And the way that works is I'm going to draw one card, which is the dominant energy for the day, and then three cards, which will sort of like clarify exactly what that's all about. We call that like the contributing factors. So let us begin. As always, if anything is particularly relevant to you, please let me know in the comments, and please like and subscribe. That's the only way I can get more viewers. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Temperance right here, very relevant to the fact that we're doing a balance spread. This is the card of balance. In general, I'm going to go through the whole spiel, I guess. So I see this card as meaning balance between the three levels of consciousness, the four levels of consciousness in traditional Jungian philosophy. So in the water, we call this sort of like the unconscious. This is the stuff that's below the surface that you're not aware of. Long-term memory, all kinds of things like that. As we get to the land here is going to be called the id, or the pre-conscious. When we talk about that, that's like, if you've ever taken psychedelics, you kind of get a better sense of this, but there's these like threads of thoughts that are happening in your brain, which are sort of like constantly there, that are there before you form like a real conscious thought. Then we call the mountains the ego. The ego is the conscious that you're constantly aware of, and so the mountains sort of act as like this like focus point to thoughts that exist in the pre-conscious, and ultimately provide like computational resources of the brain to those thoughts, so that they can be like more fully fleshed out and taken care of. The sun, what we have there, the sun in the sky in general, refers to the superego, and so this is all the knowledge that's built up in our genes, in our culture, and over time. Hold on, I got some technical problems here. We may lose battery if I don't fix this. If anybody's got a MacBook with the little MagSafe charger, it's always breaking. I hate it. Okay, so other things to note in this card: she's wearing the alchemical signal for fire right on her chest, and she's pouring water between two cups. There is debate in the tarot community about whether the water is flowing from the top cup to the bottom cup, or the bottom cup to the top cup. Some people say it's flowing both ways. I think, given the angle of the water right there, it's flowing from the top to the bottom. I don't know why there's such a debate, but traditionally we say that it flows both ways. This refers to the upper levels of consciousness and the lower levels of consciousness, and we say that the water thoughts flow both directions. So it's not just that they feed upward or downward. It's, you know, it's a constant arrow of bidirection. So in general, what we see here is like you need to balance all this. You can't focus too much on the conscious. You need to be able to explore both your preconscious and your subconscious in order to form like really useful ideas and have like really well balanced emotions. If you've been drinking a lot, if you've been, you know, using drugs or whatever, it's sort of like a wake-up call that says, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. And in general, this card just tells us to be temperate, to be balanced, and that will help us emotionally. I think that's a great card to get in a balance spread. It almost seems like I planned it, but I didn't. So Six of Swords. I also got this one recently. Maybe I'm bad at shuffling. But Six of Swords is all about helping others. So we see like this guy here, and he's like rowing a boat. It's got a whole bunch of swords on it, and they're not exactly stored in a way that I would recommend. And there's a kid and a mother who are on the boat, and he's the only one rowing. So this is like saying, you know, perhaps the way to achieve balance is not just to focus on the self, but also to focus on others. And through that, we may achieve like a more balanced lifestyle. Page of Swords. In the bigger spreads, the court cards, the Queen and the Page, they may have figurative meanings or they may have literal meanings. In general, the more cards you have, the more likely it is to be a literal person. And I think given its position in this spread, we are talking about a literal person. And so Page of Swords to me is what's the girl's name? Arya Stark, if you watch Game of Thrones. She's an adventurous little girl, doesn't take any shit, you don't want to get on her bad side, and is like a capable warrior. So if there's somebody in your life who's like a younger woman, who, you know, maybe you might call her feisty, she might be relevant to this situation. You know, if you date women, maybe it's a love interest, maybe it's a little sister. Somebody in your life is there who will be helpful in achieving balance. So pay attention to somebody who sort of fits that description. You know, choose the person you know who's most like Arya Stark, and you know, just try to like achieve some kind of energy from them. So, you know, work with them as much as you can. Now, Queen of Wands, again, because this is the dominant energy, I'm thinking this now has a figurative meaning as opposed to its literal meaning, and this is what's going to bring it all together. Queen of Wands is a card that I've actually studied a lot lately. So Queen of Wands is sort of, you can think of her of like a mother lion. All the Wands cards, all the Wands court cards, they're people who tend to like, you don't want to get on their bad side. They can be quick to anger, so like the Knight, he'll just go crazy. He'll beat you up for almost nothing. The King of Wands, he is very stern and very forceful, but it comes from like a place of competence. And so the Queen of Wands, she's like this mother lion who like is incredibly nurturing. She's a great mother. She's very beautiful, but if you get on her bad side, she's going to take you out. And so when we look at this in terms of like symbology, obviously you're getting like a lot of feline symbology. So we've got the lions up here, which represents strength, and the cat, which represents sort of like divine knowledge in a way, but it's like divine knowledge through like occult spirituality. You know, like the black cat myth, you know, witches had black cats, all that. The sunflower, like the sun, also represents sort of like the conclusion of divine knowledge, which is, you know, the ultimate goal of, you know, meditation and everything. So I think that, you know, what I'm seeing here is the recommendation that we need to like be strong in order to achieve balance. We need to be balanced. I think this is telling us in particular to avoid overuse of particular substances, particular behaviors wherever we can. Pay attention to your habits and addictions and deal with them. Help others. Pay attention to somebody in your life who is like a feisty younger woman. And again, be strong. It takes a lot to build habits. I've started doing these broadcasts every day, and they say it takes 66 days to build a habit in general. And the only way you get to that is to remain strong and remain motivated. And that feels like the way forward here for everybody. So if you'd like to achieve balance, build some habits and just remain strong for sticking to them. As always, that's Tarot Tube. Hope you enjoyed the read. If anything was particularly relevant to you, let me know in the comments. And if you have any particular questions of something you'd like to talk about, I would love to hear it. If you don't want to leave it in the comments because you're concerned about privacy and everything, go ahead and email me at tarottubeshow@gmail.com. I'll add a annotation for that or something. And always like and subscribe. I just really want a ton of followers. So go ahead, right down there at the bottom, click that thumb up button, and then go in the comments and type, "You're the best. I love Tarot Tube," and then subscribe. I think that's on the bottom too. I don't know YouTube. Okay, have a good day.